What if I told you that the thousands of dollars you spent on hearing aids might not be the real reason you're still struggling to understand? What if the key to finally following a conversation in a noisy restaurant wasn't buying a more expensive hearing aid, but asking for a service that a shocking number of hearing clinics just don't offer? The frustrating reality is that far too many clinics are skipping a crucial step in the fitting process. It's a step that could be the very key to retraining your brain to finally hear with clarity again. Hi, I'm Dr. Layne Garrett, founder of Timpanogos Hearing and Tinnitus in Utah. For years, I've seen patients walk into my clinic completely disappointed with the hearing aids they got in other hearing clinics, on the verge of giving up. They've invested their hope and their savings in the top-of-the-line hearing aids only to find they still can't understand what their grandkids are saying, and they still feel lost in group conversations, and they still feel isolated. The problem isn't always the technology. The problem is that the treatment was incomplete. Today, we're exposing that gap in care and revealing the number one thing you need to be asking for to truly hear better. Let's be honest, the journey with hearing aids can be incredibly frustrating. You go through all of the tests, you get fitted with these tiny, powerful computers for your ears, and you're told they're going to change your life. And look, for many they do help, but for many others the result is disappointment. Yes, the world is louder, but is it clearer? Can you actually pick out your spouse's voice from the clatter of the dishes? And do you feel more confident going to parties, or do you just want to leave because the jumble of noise is completely overwhelming? This is so common that people end up tossing their expensive hearing devices into a drawer, writing them off as a failed experiment. They blame the hearing aids. They blame their ears. They feel like they failed. But what if the failure isn't you or your device, but the process itself? See, the model in so many hearing clinics is all about technology, the device you buy. That's like a world-class surgeon giving you a perfect new knee and then sending you home with zero physical therapy. The joint is brand new, but without retraining the muscles around it, you're never going to walk right again. Here's the thing that gets fundamentally misunderstood about hearing loss. Hearing aids can make sounds louder, but they don't and they can't retrain your brain to understand. Hearing does not happen in your ears, it happens between your ears. Your ears are just the microphones, but your brain is the supercomputer that has to make sense of everything. When you've had hearing loss for years, your brain literally forgets how to process certain sounds. The neural pathways that filter out background noise get weak from disuse. So when you suddenly flood the brain with all this new amplified sound from hearing aids, it can be chaos. The brain has no idea what to do with all this information. It's like trying to give a thirsty person a delicate sip of water from a fire hose. This is exactly why so many new hearing aid users complain. Everything is loud, but nothing is clear. They hear the refrigerator humming louder than they can hear their partner's voice. They feel wiped out at the end of the day from all the mental effort trying to listen. This leads to frustration and the feeling that the hearing aids just don't work. The device is only half the solution. The other half is rehabbing the processor, your brain, and that's the part that is so often ignored. So if retraining the brain is so critical, why is it not a standard part of every single hearing aid fitting? Why is it so often left out of the conversation with your hearing care provider? Well, there's a few uncomfortable reasons. First, the majority of the hearing care industry is focused more on the sale of hearing aids than on the full rehabilitation process. It's a business model that prioritizes the technology. And comprehensive rehab? That takes time and resources that not all clinics are willing to offer as a standard part of care, so it becomes an extra instead of what should be an essential part of the main course. It's simple to focus on just selling a hearing aid and calling it good. Also, there's a simple lack of awareness. Many audiologists provide some counseling during the fitting of the hearing aid, but patients are oftentimes very overwhelmed with all the new information, so the advice just doesn't sink in. They walk out the door not realizing their journey isn't over, it's truly just beginning. This all creates a massive gap in care. You, the patient, are sent home with a powerful tool, but without the user manual for the most important part, your brain. You're left to struggle on your own thinking the problem is you, when the truth is you were never given the complete solution. Now before I show you exactly what this training looks like and how you can get it, if this is all making sense and if you've felt this exact frustration, do me a favor and hit that like button. It tells the YouTube algorithm that this is a message more people need to see. And also think about subscribing, because my entire goal here is to give you the power to take control of your own hearing health. The solution, the part you're probably missing, is called aural rehabilitation, specifically a power piece of it known as auditory training. Think of it as physical therapy for your brain. It's a series of structured, game-like exercises designed to rebuild your brain's ability to process and understand the sound your hearing aids are finally delivering. So what does that actually mean for you? It means you can start targeting the exact skills that hearing aids alone cannot fix. Auditory training programs focus on key areas like understanding speech and noise, training your brain to pull a voice out of all the background chatter in a restaurant, processing fast talkers, help you keep up with those quick conversations so you don't get left behind, and boosting auditory memory, strengthening your ability to remember what you just heard, which is critical for following directions or a long story. Today, technology makes aural rehab easy and accessible. One of the most effective and well-researched tools is a program called Layne AI, which stands for Listening and Communication Enhancement with Artificial Intelligence. Layne AI is an app you can use right on your phone or tablet. For just about 15 to 20 minutes a day, it guides you through these personalized exercises. It uses artificial intelligence to adapt to your skill levels, so you're always being challenged just enough to get better, but not so much that you get frustrated. And get this, the content is actually fun, with exercises built around trivia, history, and even jokes. But maybe the most incredible feature is that you can use artificial intelligence to simulate the voices of your loved ones, so you can practice understanding the very voices that matter most to you. The results are real. Studies and user after user report significant, measurable improvements after just 1 month of consistent training. They feel more confident and less mentally exhausted from listening. Layne AI and programs like it are the physical therapy that should come with every single pair of hearing aids. They bridge that critical gap between just hearing sound and truly understanding it. For example, one patient said, "Layne has given me back my youth and joy of enjoying lectures, family friends, and group meetings. I feel so inspired and grateful to understand the process of learning to hear with the brain." So the secret is out. If you are fighting with your hearing aids, the problem may not be the hearing device in your ear, but the lack of training for the supercomputer between your ears. The single most important thing you might be missing is aural rehabilitation. It's the difference between just turning the volume up on the world and actually retraining your brain to find clarity in the noise. Amplification alone is not enough. Don't accept being dissatisfied. Don't let those expensive, amazing pieces of hearing technology sit in a drawer. You deserve to get every bit of benefit from your investment in better hearing. It's time to advocate for yourself. So here's what you can do. Call your hearing care provider and ask them one simple but direct question. What kind of aural rehabilitation or auditory training programs do you offer to help me get the most out of my hearing aids? If they don't have a clear answer or they dismiss the question, it might be time to find a provider who practices a complete treatment model. You want a clinic that sees rehabilitation not as an extra or an add-on, but as a core part of their service. Because getting your hearing back is a partnership. It takes more than just technology. It takes a commitment to rehabilitating your entire auditory system, and that includes your brilliant brain. Thanks for watching.